live.
There we go. Yeah, it was taking a second. All right, let me pop up the chat. All right. Okay, so we'll wait a second as everybody piles in slowly. Let me move my microphone a little bit here. Oops, there we go. Let's see. Well, I've got all the miniatures here, so I guess I'll grab them. Oh, there's an unidentified liquid underneath these guys. Oh, I think it's coffee. Whoops.
Whoops.
Whoops, yeah, I spilled it over the weekend, like a whole huge container. Thought I got it all up. Pretty much did. Alright, what's up, Andre? Good to see you. What's up, Peter? Hope you're having a good day. We've got more and more people coming in here. We're at 20 people. That's cool. Oh, wow, the number's going way down. What's happening? Something's gone wrong.
Something's going on?
We were at 25. Now it's dropping. That's cool. Whatever.
I noticed, too, by the way, I'm going to go and point this out, that before any stream starts, the person I always see saying something first is Anki2014. That guy is dedicated. So thank you, Anki.
Always ready to rock and roll. Alright. So anyway, of course, we are starting our desert kit today. So we'll go ahead and look at the contents of the kit. Our helpless NPC for this month is our camel here. I feel like this one's going to be a really fun paint job, especially with the limited palette. I'll probably brighten up the face features and everything too, but this guy was a lot of fun to paint. Our hero is our cool trader, merchant guy. I don't really know the best way to describe him or not, but he looks cool. I think that's pretty much the deciding factor. You can see here on the blade, we're going to be doing some true metallic metal technique where you bake in non-metallic pigment on top. So I think that looks really, really nice. And then we got some really good texture on his clothing and everything like that too. So this is just a really fun miniature to paint in general. And then we've got the big bad boy here. So this guy will be a lot of fun, weathering metallics. It's also just a really cool sculpt. I mean, he's holding a door for a shield. What more could you want? And then what we're working on today is another ogre here. This one, of course, has the cool body paint. So we'll do a little bit of freehand body paint on it. It's really not too difficult as long as we take our time. And then I think the you can see where I spilt some dirty paint water right there. There's a little like bubble on his shoulder. But what's really nice about this one is that we get to practice some really, really nice smooth skin tone stuff, which, you know, anytime we can work on that, I think that's probably one of the most beneficial things that people can do. But so anyway, we're going to be working on that. Move these guys out of the way. And then the colors in this kit, for those of you that possibly don't have the kit yet and you're wondering what you get. But let me see. So we've got our cyan blue, a really, really strong blue tone, really good color. We have our violet red, which is kind of like a decaf magenta or a deeper bubblegum pink. So you can pick and choose which one you like there for the descriptor. And then we've got our violet shadow. Violet shadow is a really great color. It's a mix between a super neutralized dark purple and dark blue. So it works really, really well for shadow colors. Now then, everything else we've got for this month are all very similar, but they're all completely separate hues. And that was kind of what I wanted to really focus on with this palette. So when we get them all together like this, it's a little bit easier to tell why I chose the ones that I chose. But there's actually a lot of utility here in between these colors, and they're really good to have sort of just in your repertoire. But so we have a really nice rosy reddish hue kind of tan color. We have your more traditional tan right there. We have a yellow hue tan. We have an orange hue tan. And then we have a green ochre or a green tan. All of these colors together, right, can be used on the same miniature. The palette itself will look great. It'll all make sense. And they're all separate enough to where you're not going to be distracting too far on one or the other. But the names, of course, we have Amber Gold, we have Redstone Highlight, we've got Olive Skin, we have Chestnut Gold, and we have Worn Olive. Both of the golds aren't metallics at all. They just have gold in the name. So, there you go. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our Redstone Highlight and we're going to base coat the skin. And then we're going to wash it down. So that's why I want to get started relatively quickly. So that way we have enough time to wait for it to actually dry. Oh, you know, I didn't shake the paint here. Let me make sure we're good. There we go. Alright. But thanks for hanging out today. Hope you're all having a good day. Wow, yeah, it looks like Twitch didn't notify anybody. We've got, like, nobody here. That's cool. Thanks,
Yeah,
Twitch.
It had some issues with Ancho as well, and then it was having some issues on Friday. I actually did get an email from Twitch saying that there was a problem, which I don't normally get, so because normally it's spotty anyway. But I actually got an email from them saying, "Hey, there's a little bit of an issue." So
there you go. So I have my normal 1-to-1 ratio here with water to the paint. So that way my Zenithal application underneath shows through a little bit. We're going to be doing a lot of work on this skin anyway, so it's not a huge deal for me to retain any of the Zenithal. But for those of you that don't Zenithal at home, that's totally fine. You'll be A-okay this time around. Not that it's ever really a requirement for any of our paint jobs. You can just get around that issue by directly base coating everything opaquely or just nice and solid. So we're going to be applying this on here. I had a bit of a hard time cleaning up this guy. The one that I painted previously didn't have the same mold issue, but he had like a hole in his shoulder, so I had to shave it down quite a bit, and then I put some super glue in there, and then I shaved it down further with the sanding twigs, and now it's nice and smooth. But I was a little bit worried about that. But otherwise, pretty easy peasy cleanup. And then, of course, his hand was a separate piece, holding his big club. Oh, you can't see anything. There you go. I was like, why does my palette not look right? There we go. But I definitely, when I was thinking about, like, what would be fun for a desert-themed kit, I was kind of sitting there and I was thinking, like, well, you know, what do we have? What are we really working with? And so I was thinking, you know, desert creatures, maybe a scorpion, maybe some of the like Nefzakar stuff, some mummies or Anubis warriors or a sphinx or something like that. But for some reason, I was like, well, you know, we never really get to paint these, you know, non-Caucasian skin tones. And, you know, the jungle kit, we had an opportunity to do the chestnut hued skin on the witch, and I was like, well, what do you have in the desert that has a lot of skin? And you don't really have anything. And I'm like, okay, well, what other creatures could you find that are like maybe marauding in the desert or something like that have a lot of skin? And we haven't done ogres at all, and so I thought, hey, that is an easy option, and it's also an encounter that like you wouldn't necessarily suspect. So if you are a dungeon master or someone that runs games or anything like that, it is interesting to be like, yeah, you've got these, you know, marauding desert ogres that go on caravan runs and steal goods, yada, yada, yada. Maybe they work for an evil genie or something like that. That was kind of the idea in my head as I was sitting there thinking up the kit itself. And that's kind of the direction I've gone with the next quarter's worth of kits as well. They're definitely, like, not at all what you would expect for people that are here. I know right now we've got some of the Patreon people in the chat, and they got to see the next upcoming kits for the next quarter, and I know they were super excited about it because they include stuff that you like no one in the chat right now beyond them would probably guess what's going to be in them. So we definitely have some really cool stuff headed your way. Very cool themes. And then I'm even excited about after next quarter, so October, November, December. Assuming Miniature Monday continues. It'd be cool to do it for a whole year, for sure. But those also, we've been playing around with all kinds of funny ideas, too. But, so I'm just doing all the skin here. Relatively simple. Making sure that I have a little bit of the zenithal showing through, but it isn't crucial. Go ahead and get the legs. So what are you guys working on over the weekend? Let me know in the chat if you guys have any fun projects you were completing. I just felt kind of weird. I had a really bad anxiety attack on Saturday, like full-blown silent panic type of thing, where like there was no reason for it to happen. And so I just felt sick the rest of the day. Anytime I used to have anxiety attacks like every day a few years ago, and mine are really physical symptoms, so I feel like I have like a fever or the flu, and then afterwards my body is like super dehydrated and I just feel sick for hours, and then it just goes away. But that was pretty much Saturday. And then yesterday I mowed our lawn, and then our neighbor was like, can you please mow my lawn? And so I ended up mowing hers, and then there was something wrong with her daughter's bike, so I ended up fixing her daughter's bike. And then I also made house number sign thing for her house to match ours, and we ended up reattaching those by bolting them into the actual brick, because the sort of like epoxy tape that I used previously got too hot, so it was starting to give. So I ended up doing a lot of stuff yesterday, and I was just tired. So I had a productive weekend, just not at all what I needed to get done for work, but it is what it is. And then Sydney and I ended up watching like every episode available for Mike Tyson Mystery Squad or whatever. That show's pretty funny. Hey, there's Jacob Jansen. What's up, Jacob? Undead Apocalypse. That's cool. Cleaning snake poop. That's exciting. Didn't do any painting. Oh, yeah, you've got a lot of painting to catch up on. Working on a henchman miniature. You might know about that. Which henchman? Oh, the space henchman. Oh, this guy. Well, yeah, so this weekend, we ended up doing our Patreon class, and I think it worked out amazing. So this is one of the Chronoscope miniatures. This is the Space Henchman. And the lesson that we were doing this weekend, this was the basic $5 class. So if you sign up on Patreon for $5 a month, this is kind of the level of painting that you can expect in a 2-hour window. Everything is done start to finish. But so what we were doing was object source lighting from below, or atmospheric lighting from below, with this Space Henchman miniature. I think this guy's bone's black, if I'm not mistaken. But he turned out really cool. I was very pleased with it. We went with a totally different painting style for people than I typically do at that level. It was mostly kind of painting like half of the miniature from the top up, and then turning it like this and finishing up all of the lighting from below, because that was totally black. So, but I had a lot of fun with that. And then this week as well, we're going to be starting the huge paint-along project for people that are at that $20 tier a month. So we're going to be working on this big guy. I have to attach his weapon. But so I know a lot of you guys saw me painting the Shadow Dragon. So he's going to be painted up to that same level. So like a commercial box art level. But the only difference here is this is the first time that I'll be painting something at that level where it's completely instructional. So What I decided to add, because I've hit the plateau of Patreon people that I've been trying to hit ever since I started it. So I added 4 extra hours of content. So every single week, there will be an extra. So this will be worked on in 1 hour chunks until it's completed every single week. So it adds 4 hours of content a month for everybody. So that's like 10 to 12 hours of content if you're paying $20. And then if you're paying 5, it's 2 hours. If you're paying, or sorry, 4 hours. And if you're paying 10, it's 8 hours. So, you know, I try and offer more Patreon content than anyone out there on the internet. You can mark my words on that. No, but nobody can compete when it comes to that. But we had a really fun time this weekend, and then tomorrow, what do I have tomorrow? Let me see. So Wednesday is when we're going to work on that, and Friday. So that'll be pretty exciting. Now then, beyond all of that, what we're going to do, I was waiting on the skin to dry, so that way I can take our violet shadow, and we're going to make a wash out of that. I have to thank Stuart for sending me one of those Lab Genius little vortex spinner things. That's been helpful with all the paint. This bottle is just clogged though. Here we got our custom pokey tool here. Here we go. All right. There we go. So this is a really nice color, violet shadow. I've been using it off and on ever since the first time I painted these miniatures. Didn't I paint them right before we moved? So last month, yeah. Yes, because I think Collins wanted them on by the 14th, and I got them done by like the 11th or something last month. So, all right. So I'm gonna take this and make a wash. So it'll be 3 to 1 essentially water to paint, but I need to mix a little bit more than I typically would, just because I need to be able to cover the entire miniature. All right. Where can I safely test this? The middle of the back is still wet, but we can do the hand here, find out if we're going to be in trouble. Looks like we're good. Yes, okay. Now I'm just using a bigger watercolors brush right now, only because I had a bunch of brand new ones I didn't know I had still. I had given away a bunch of them, but I saved myself a full set of the range of sizes. So one thing I did remember was I really liked how much they absorb liquid, like in washing terms. So I was using this last week, and since I have a lot of this to cover, I'll just go ahead and use this now. Otherwise, you guys know I typically don't stray from my size 1 brush, but this will just help us go a little bit faster. Now then, I don't think I have a cheat here on anything else with this color, right? Yeah, okay. Don't be afraid of this color. Remember, you want to completely evenly coat it. You don't want it to just kind of go in splotchy. You want to apply probably more than you think, unless you've been painting with me for a while and you're used to the amount that I'll apply. Oh, looks like my palette cam is deciding to not be really fun here. Hold on, let me see if I can get it to focus. There we go. This color is great to do for shadow on skin like this because it's so warm. And it's neutral enough from the amount of black added into that purple that it won't read as color. Instead, it'll read as shadow. The Color Me Impressed painting contest we have going on, we've had more and more people now starting to show their entries. You have until July 1st to get that stuff finished up, so that's exciting. But that's been one of the challenges for people is now that they're trying to push themselves to use color. That's the whole point of the painting contest. They're realizing like, oh, well, I thought doing this color as like a base skin tone would make sense, but it doesn't read as a shadow necessarily, as it just reads as, oh, I used a weird color, right? So sometimes it takes a little bit more planning for the colors to use, so that way they don't interfere too much with your overall look. But let's see. Definitely pleased here, and it's already drying, which is good. So we're just going to let this take a breather as we continue to work on different parts of the miniature. Ah, you got a Da Vinci 10 size 1. Boom, boom. Always good. Alright, so we're going to let that dry. Now, what else do we have going on here? We've got a need for some brown. So I'm going to take Intense Brown, and we'll go ahead and paint up the club. Intense Brown is a part of our core color kit. You can use any just regular brown color that you may own. But I'm going to go for a nice brown right in the middle, which is typically what Intense Brown does for you. Did I use it too on... Oh, no, okay. So I'll go ahead and base coat the club. Oh, and so is the audio fixed this time around? I'm noticing we're not having the peanut gallery scream, so I think it must be fixed.
Yeah, I think it sounds pretty good on my end too, so.
Alright, so I am going to go ahead and cover the cloth wraps that he has on the club with the same brown. The reason for that is that we're going to end up highlighting it up anyway, so this is still a good base color to use for it. All that's missing is a squeaky door. Well, don't have that issue anymore. But the problem with that was it was a foundation problem causing that door to squeak. You like literally couldn't make it stop. You can see our wash is almost dry as well. It really took that color and made it super, super nice and warm. And then I'll go ahead and take this same color and base coat the barrel. I'm not worrying at all about the metal parts of the barrel or anything like that. I'm just kind of throwing this color all over. We're going to go back anyway and paint over it. And my paint's not really thick or anything, so I'm not too freaked out. Alright. Clip it, yeah. That would be pretty funny. Anytime somebody says the audio is weird or they can't hear something, we'll just start blasting that squeaky door over and over. Alright, so I'm happy with that. Now then, I'm going to get our color that's a color here. You know, it's a color that we use. Where is Ancient Gold? That's the color I'm looking for. Ancient... Or, sorry, Antique Gold. Where are you at, buddy? Actually, this is very weird. Oh, right here. Okay. We're going to do Antique Gold to base his little arm bracer, whatever thing he's got going on, and parts of the shield. Let's go ahead and do that. Let me turn off the... hold on. Let me fix the palette cam for you. You know, what's funny is OBS used to have problems remembering some of my settings, and then now the only thing it won't remember is the turning off autofocus for whatever reason on the palette cam. So it's kind of like, all right, well, I'll take I'll take the slight victory. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and paint this guy. nice solid coat. And I know that there are like strings right there, so maybe this is studded leather, but I just thought that that would be too boring in the initial painting, so we're just going to say that it's all metal and it's hung together by string, right? That makes sense for an ogre. And then, what do we do on the shield here? The shield is also all the same color. I'll probably add silver to the middle or something around the edge, but we'll just paint the whole thing this color for now. Just making sure I have even coverage. It'll show some of that zenithal as well, which is cool. Pre-shading on a metallic is always appreciated. See what I did there? Did you see? Sorry. Alright. We've got that. Let me see if there's anything else that really makes sense. Let's do the, did we do the belt buckle in the same color? Most likely. Yes, we did. So we'll go ahead and do the belt buckle. There we go. Now we're going to grab honed steel. We're going to base coat everything so that way we can just wash it all down. And then while all of that is drying, we end up working on the skin. Everything finishes up nicely. So, honed steel, whatever metallic silver you like. Painter's choice. This is from our core set. It's from our corset. Drop some on the... Did I even have any? What is going on? What? Okay, there we go. I'll say, honed silver. What happened, man? Okay. Okay. Alright, so I did the chainmail in the front. I'll go ahead and paint up the little center portion of the shield here, and then the edge. You can also dot the little rivets if you want. I'm just not going to combat that, because I feel like they're very small. So I'll do the edge of the shield here. Ta-da! That was easy enough. And they'll go ahead and do the metallic portions on the barrel. Okay. And then let's go ahead and paint this little whatever thing. Little magic stone. I'm just going to do it in silver. Boom. Easy enough. Peeping Reapers. What's a Peeping Reaper? That sounds dirty. Then I'll go ahead and do the little spikes coming out of the club as well. With our honed steel. Oh, he also has a collar on his neck. I forgot. So we're going to do that in silver, too. It's such an odd accessory. I guess he thinks it's cool. Keeps it from his head getting too big, I'm sure. Oops, got a little bit of silver paint on his ear. That's fine, though, because we're going to be highlighting all that back up anyway. Hey, Vigo. Let me see. Off camera. What are you talking about off camera? What's off camera? Let me see. It's a goth ogre. So the two cats are slowly getting acclimated to each other still, and they are definitely not friends. Um, but Arthur and the dog are relatively okay. Sometimes the dog acts like an idiot and like just lunges at Arthur if he's feeling jealous. And then Arthur, of course, subsequently slaps him furiously. And then sometimes Arthur will be intimidated if he's like jumping, if the dog's jumping around all crazy, then Arthur will like hunt down the dog. But beyond that, it's not too bad. But yeah, the two cats definitely hate each other's guts right now. So we still have to work through that dilemma. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let's see, now I need this color, I need this color. Okay, so I'm going to take our worn olive color here. I'm going to use this as the base coat for the fur. Now I'm going to wash the fur a different color, so it's not too big of a deal, but since it's, you know, what fur is olive green, but just trust me. Do the top of the fur here, coming out over the belt. Looks like I missed a bit of the wash underneath his arm as well, so I'll rectify that here in a second. Let's see, this goes up over. Easy enough. There we go. And I think that's it for now on those colors. And then I do want to take, let me see which brown here. And then I'm going to take amber gold. And we're going to use this on some of the cloth parts. Oh, let me see. I navigated away here. Man. There's like not to discredit the people that are watching the stream today, but we have like less than 1/3 of what we normally have in here. That's pretty crazy. All right, so now I'm gonna take this color and I'm gonna go ahead and do the cloth on the wrist here. Alright. Now, careful on this part, just because it's a weird angle underneath the big old club. But that'll probably do it for us. Now then, let's see. I'm also going to do this on the cloth on the club itself. That's why I wasn't too worried about base coating the whole thing brown, just because this is a totally fine base to put this color on top of. There's a lot of white pigment in this color, so it's not that big of a deal. I think the reason why I like these little straps of cloth here is because they're pretty much the width of a brush. So it makes it very easy to go in and paint them, because you're not really going to mess up too much. And then, like I said, once we're done base coating all the different parts, other than the skin, we're going to wash them down. We're going to make kind of a warmer wash color, which is why painting the fur with that green color wasn't a huge deal, because it's going to shift to a different hue once we apply that wash. Alright, so we've got that going on. And then do go ahead and use the same color here on his little chops. His little facial hair. Because we'll end up washing that down with everything else as well. And then use the same color on the skulls. And we're going to use it on the cloth on his feet. Very utility color here, because we'll wash it down and then we'll highlight some up to look like bone, highlight some up to look like cloth. Good utility color. All right, let's see. Doing pretty good. I like how stark of a difference all these colors are now compared to the rest of the skin since we washed it first. But that's how that goes. I also just noticed the part that we missed. I gotta fix it. I like how I say we missed it. I think that's probably just a deeper rooted psychological issue that I have, where I can't take responsibility for my own mistakes. So I'm gonna drag all of you into it, but especially Justin, because one thing I've learned working with Reaper is that if there's one person I can blame for everything, without a doubt, it's Justin.
That's cute. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm okay with it. Let's do it.
All right, so there we go.
Just give it all to me. I'll take it.
I'm not. No, we're not. See, you know, you're trying to play t-ball right now and just like set me up for a home run, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm not.
I'm gonna walk away from your tee.
Yeah, you're. I'm gonna need someone to pitch it to me for me to throw it back. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Are those awkward early stages of kid pitch where the coach like still stands behind you, but you're just throwing wild ass pitches that don't go anywhere?
You know, that's even weirder when it's a skee ball machine at Chuck E. Cheese. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the gold color here and touch up what I forgot to do right there. Look at that. See, we're doing all the right things. All right, and then I don't know what to do about this belt, to be honest with you. I've lost, I don't know what color I used. I think just regular brown. So, that being said, what I'll go ahead and do is I'll just like mix with this redstone highlight. I'm just going to make like a dark kind of muddy brown. Painter's choice here, because we're at that point in the paint job where it's kind of like, let's just make it work. So I'm just going to paint this on here. Whatever brown floats your boat. And we'll paint the belt. The belt itself is going to be washed down anyway and get very minimal highlight, like none. So who cares? We just need it to have a color. And I'll take the same kind of off color that I'm putting on here now, and I'm going to do the straps on our gold wristlet. Even though that is super similar to the skin tone in the shadows, that'll be okay. I'm not too awfully upset. Justin walks up to the guy at the prize counter at Chuck E. Cheese, and he's like, "How many tickets?" And the employee's like, "Dude, I don't know. I'm 17. What are you talking about?" And he takes a bucket full of tickets, and he's like, "Oh man, but how many tickets? Is this enough?" And the guy's like, "Again, I don't know what you want." And he's like, "I just want some self-respect." And the employee's like, "Oh man, we can't do that for you. We don't have that."
We can't.
Okay. You're like, they actually banned me from Chuck E. Cheese because it's all I would ask for. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our Noir Black, and then we're going to take the Intense Brown. I would want to use Redstone Highlight for it, but we're going to go a different direction. So instead, I'm going to take the Intense Brown and Noir Black. We're going to make a wash out of that. So that way we have a nice warm tone shadow on everything else. I don't want it to be as intensely hued as the color we did on the skin, but I want it to be dark, and this should get us where we need to be. So I just only need a little bit of the Noir Black to make it happen. And we're going to make a wash. There we go. That looks good to me. All right. Let's wash some things, huh? Where can we begin? Now, where did I just get this paint on my finger? I feel like I wiped it on the miniature or it came off the miniature. I don't see anything, so we're going to pretend it's fine. I'm going to start on... Actually, I'm going to make this darker. Not dark enough. It's not dork enough. Where are we at? Here we go. Alright, I'm going to put this all over the weapon. There we go. That's a nice tone. This will be a little bit more subtle than the initial paint job that I've got finished here on the table. But no two masterpieces are the same. Okay, anyway, we're just going to coat this and I hope it works. It should. If you're somebody with washes at home, you can use a wash if you want, but obviously, pre-mix that is, but I'm always a fan of the palette method. That way everything is cohesive. And it just looks nice too, right? All those tones are going to work together. Do the same thing here on the cloth on the wrist. Shield. Alright, we're going to go ahead and wash this onto the fur. As you can tell too, as soon as you start to apply this color onto that green, it shifts it away from the green and into more of a really kind of ochreish color, which you can then highlight up to be really anything. Those colors are so neutral and easy to work with. You can manipulate them a lot. Put it on the barrel as we work our way to the front. Now, what does he have in his barrel? That's what I'm wondering, because if we think about it, right? I mean, he's got that barrel. He can only open it once. There's no stopper on it, and you know, this is an ogre. I don't think he really has the finesse to think about preserving something he's opened, right? So, if this is a one-use thing, do you think it's a water barrel instead of a big water skin, or is it full of gummy bears? I mean, what would a guy in the desert have in a barrel on his hip? I feel like that's the question of the day. Ham? Well, okay, so I mean, Sharky, that's pretty cool, but I think Andre was headed in a better direction when he said it's mayo. You know, I would assume he's using the mayo to moisturize his skin, possibly. Maybe his mutton chops, you know, but, you know, I think maybe mayo, that's probably smart. Could be a giant barrel of vinegar, something like that. Who knows? It could be old National Geographic magazines. I know those are crucial in the desert. They use them as currency. But it's always hard to tell with these ogres. I'm going to take the same wash on the wrist as we dingy up our guy. His sins. Okay, Sharky. Blue liner. Blue liner. Intriguing. All right, we've hit everything other than the choppies, so I'll go ahead and hit those up here too. And there we go. Now everything is gross, dingy, and ready for work. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit. It'll only take about, I don't know, 30 seconds before I feel comfortable working on the skin. It's the sunscreen he forgot to use. Yeah, exactly. He's just baking. Okay. Oop. All right. So if we're comparing the two, we're about an hour in, so not too bad. It'll take about that long to finish everything up, if I had to guess. But, so, everything is now at the stage to where highlights are going to begin. The skin itself should be relatively simple. I believe we used 2 colors to bring it back up from the redstone highlight. Everything else very simple. Highlighting up the cloth, all the metals, all that stuff. We could do it in our sleep. And then we get to attempt a little bit of that cool war paint. So, no, we're not doing the base on stream just because I hate using pigment powders in general. I just hate them. I think they're terribly messy products. They look all right, but I just wish there was a better way to effectively get them to work. Depending on the method that you do, you can't achieve... Like, you can achieve one look wet and one look dry, but it's very hard to achieve one or the other without doing it that method. So I feel like eventually there will probably be a product that comes out that works for the same intents and purposes as pigment powder. But right now, you kind of get shoehorned into going one or two directions, and it's neither one is an easy application. I mean, it's easy, but like I don't like the mess that it creates. And then you get the pigment on your hands, your skin, on whatever that gets wet. Now it's spread everywhere. Like I've had many unfortunate incidences dealing with pigment powder, so I had to learn it all the hard way. All right, so I'm gonna get out some more of the redstone highlight back out onto the palette, nice and fresh. So that way we won't have any issues with it. And I'm gonna begin tapering and highlighting up all these nice muscles. So, as we always do, we're going to be pushing our highlights up right underneath any of our shadow areas, or areas where a shadow would, like a boundary, right? Hard edge, and that way it'll look more natural. So I'm going to start up here, paying attention to the volumetric shapes on the belly itself. Going right up around the little tooth charm he's got hanging off of the necklace. And just working that color back into the skin. Paying attention to some of these areas where a shadow may exist based on the shapes. You can see there I left a little bit of that curvature in shadow. Going down the side here. Into his little underneath the arm abs. Obliques. I don't know. Never credit a fat dude to talk about muscles. You know, that's kind of foreign territory. On to the pectoralis. And over on this side. Alright, so now we are moving on to the arms. Top of the shoulder to you right here, Andre, as we begin our application on this arm. Now then, I am only going about halfway down the arm itself. I do want to keep this darker color here as our shadow. you can see that little pock mark where I just couldn't get it clean. I would really have to dig deep into the shoulder there, and I don't want to have to do that. So I opted just not to mess with it too much. But I had a similar conundrum with the Patreon mini that we did over the weekend. Let me see if you can even tell. His had a mold mark right on the top of his head. Oh, I guess we did an okay job hiding it. You can barely see it now. But yeah, he has like a hole in the very top of his head, and I would have to like completely reshape his head to hide it. But I think we did a good job hiding it with paint, which is usually my solution. All right, now then, moving on to the bicep here. We're going to do the top right underneath the edge of the shoulder above. And then I'm tapering it at about halfway down, just like that. Looks good to me. Second muscle here. And then the back of the arm. I'm actually going to add a little bit more of this color going down the top of the shoulder. Mostly because I feel like I want to highlight it up a little bit further than I sort of tapered there, which is the only reason why I would do that. There we go. All right, now going back. All right. So you can tell already, I mean, honestly, if you were just going for tan skin in general, or really sort of a warmer flesh tone like this singular reapplication of the base coat after a wash will get you great results, right? I mean, this doesn't look bad at all if you're just trying to get a miniature ready for the tabletop. Of course, because I love all of you so much, I'm going to push you further to do more of a highlight than that. So now I'm going to go directly right there up against that edge on the shoulder blade. And then I'm going to go around and down to get this color back in. Highlight up a little bit beneath it, but only a little bit like that. On the top, right underneath his big old club wub, I'm actually going to leave it darker as if there was a shadow underneath the club. I know, what a crazy concept that something would cast a shadow, but we will attempt it, and hopefully it will look believable. And there we go. I feel like that looks good. Next side of the shoulder. I'm going to go right up against that shoulder blade edge and down. All right. Just about ready to get more of the redstone highlight on the brush. Now then, I am going to taper this a little bit more down than the 50% we were kind of doing on the other arm, only because this arm is flattened a little bit because he has it raised. So it's going to be getting more of the sun than his other arm would. I'm just trying to make sure my taper line isn't the ugliest thing on the planet. But it doesn't look like my baby pictures, so I think we're doing okay. All right. I'm happy with that. We'll be able to highlight that up further. All right, so the skin, definitely rocking and rolling. Feeling good about that. I need more of the redstone highlight. I cannot, for whatever reason, successfully judge how much I need on the palette, so we're just going to keep dropping it on in there. Thanks, Trash. All right, and then onto the bicep here. Pretty much the whole top part of the bicep, because it is flat. And then up underneath a little bit here, on top of this part of his little elbow part right here, right up underneath that his little bicep butt cheek. I don't know. I don't think that's a real part of a muscle, but hey, he's an ogre. He doesn't exist, so.
Butt cheek.
Yeah, bicep butt cheek. And then I do want to highlight his back butt cheek as well, which is right here in the middle. We're gonna do a little bit of a highlight. Typically, if I was lighting it a little bit more, I would highlight up the center right in the middle of that, but it's so deep that it doesn't really necessarily make much of a difference. But I'll do a little bit more. Just like that. A little bit of this shape right there is a little bit round, and then I'll do a little bit of this part here. And there we go. Wowie, wowie. All right. Back of the heel. Back of the calf. Back of this calf. A little bit of the bottom of his thigh here. Easy enough. All right. Now let's see where we're at. So let's do the bottom half of the thigh here. Towards that bottom rounded edge. The only reason I'm going with that as the highlight rather than the top is because the his little fur loincloth situation would be casting a bit of a shadow there. And then on the top of the kneecap, I'm going to push it directly up underneath that other muscle. And do a little bit right there. Simple, simple. On his toesy woesies, this little piggy is getting a highlight. And then we're just tapering it towards the middle of the foot there. Then we'll go ahead and do the top of this kneecap right here. And the toes. There we go. Alright, so picking back up, I'm going to add a little bit more to this pec here, just so that it matches the rest of the pigment level that we've done everywhere else. Leaving it darker directly where the club, is casting a shadow. A little bit at the top of this bicep here. And then I'll taper it about halfway down. Like so. Whoop, just like that. Furloin is a fancy word. Yes, it is. He furloined the fur probably from a unfortunate pelt trader in the desert. You know, Jim the pelt trader already was going through a hard time when he decided to move from the vast forests of the north where he would hunt and trap game for their fur. He, you know, unknowingly assumed that people in the hot, arid desert were dying for fur products, and as he found out after the move that no one really wanted to buy them, and it took him about 6 months to sell the first shipment that he had brought back from the hinterlands. And unfortunately, you know, his wife left him, his goblin butler left him. You know, no one really believed in the business anymore after he moved, because why would these people buy furs in the middle of the desert? Unfortunately for him, on the way back with his second shipment, he got robbed by these ogres, and now they used his pelts for loincloths.
That's hot.
Yeah, I mean, he has a better idea for the next business, though. He's going to be a milk salesman in the desert selling camel milk.
Ew.
I don't know if he's thought it out as well as the other business, but He's gonna try. Steak for dinner, huh? Last night I cooked tortilla soup for dinner, so we did that for dinner. That was really good. And then tonight I think I'm gonna do chicken Alfredo. I do need to get a grill here though, because I do want to be able to grill. Right now we don't have a grill. No grilling. Nothing like a cup of milk on a hot day. Yeah, exactly.
Warm milk too, I imagine.
Yeah. Warm camel milk has the same smell as Taco Bell refried beans. Make sure to get the fingers here.
Yuck.
Here we are. And then we didn't do this hand here, so we gotta do this hand as well. Oh look, I missed this part of his foot. Let me fix that. Nice and ugly wash. There we go. Alright. Go ahead and get this hand. Make sure you get the top of the thumb, a little bit of the bottom of the thumb meat. Go ahead and get the top of the hand, that knuckle right there. Highlight that up. Go ahead and get down the joints of each finger, the knuckles, just like that. And on the back side, we'll go ahead and do the fingers. Even though he does have an unfortunate mold line like right on the side of his hand, so we're just ignoring that. We're not going to pay attention to it. All right, so now then, bada bing, bada boom. There we go. We've highlighted up everything but the face there, so we get the last amount of redstone highlight, hopefully, that we need. I've gone through 3 re-ups on the skin, but he's a big boy. Got a lot of exposed skin here. All right, so I'm gonna get some of this on the palette as we begin to highlight up the face. Go ahead and do his big old upper lip area here, the nose as well, up into the cheekbone, down the side of the mouth, highlight the ear, just like that. Go ahead and get that bottom lip line. Sort of pay attention to the chin. That's pretty much as bright as that chin's gonna get, though. We don't wanna go too far with that. Where's my focal point? Oh, right there. Okay. And then highlighting up the brows. Just like that. And then on this side, get that cheek. A little bit of the side of the mouth. And the ear. That's pretty much it. There we go. So, let's compare. Did I not hit this right here? I don't think I did. Hold on. I'll make sure I get the back of the shoulder right here. Okay. So now let's compare the two as we're getting closer on the skin. But you can tell we still got a ways to go. Not too big of a deal, though. So the next color we're going to be using is our chestnut gold. And then our final color is olive skin. Maybe a little bit of the amber gold, but... So I'm going to try and use this color... Actually, sorry, I lied. I am going to mix in a little bit of the olive skin as well. Just to brighten it up. Oh, this color was not ready. Oh, somebody asked a question about the paint mixer. I just got this. So I don't have a ton of experience with it, but I do know that it works better than me shaking my hand like crazy. So if you have been interested in getting one, I mean, you may as well if you've had issues with the consistency of your paint or, you know, for me, I just shake my paint. I've always shake my paint. Who cares, right? Not a big deal. But I would say maybe 3 out of every 10 times that I do it, it doesn't actually fix the problem, and this fixes it 100% of the time. That's a win-win for me, so who cares, right? But for the longest time, I was like, why would I need one? It's a Lab Genius. So one of the guys that I do private lessons with actually sent me this one because he bought like the crazy nice one that's all metal, but this one seems to work okay for me. All right, now then, going in with this color, we're going to start on the stomach. And I am very much so paying attention to the volume structure on the belly itself. So I'm paying attention to all of these different shapes coming out of the stomach and the muscles there as I begin to highlight it all up. So you can see I'm starting to build in. It is, yeah, Nomad. It's the blue and silver one. Hold on, where can I point this? There you go. Right there. You see it? Watch my finger. Watch my finger. Look at this. Look at my finger, guys. What is going on? Okay, that's enough of that. That weirded me out. All right, so now we're going to go back.
Whoa.
Feels fine. All right, we're going to continue highlighting up the skin here. It turns your bones to jello.
18+ stream.
Yeah, right? Make sure you donate your tokens, okay? All right. I'll be the first painter with an OnlyFans.
Oh, I almost said it.
That's hilarious. All right. I am gonna sharpen this line right here. There we go. Same thing on this side. I'm paying attention to all of these nuanced shapes in the belly. So you can see how many different sort of shapes I built in here to the stomach. Previously we just did like a single full coat application. This time around I'm like, let's do it a little bit more nuanced. And then going up onto the pec, I'm going to focus the majority of the opaque highlight on the top right-hand portion as I taper it darker and darker towards the center of the chest. I'll go ahead and highlight the nip with this color. Actually, I feel like the skin's going to look even better on this guy. Let's compare the two already. Yeah, the skin's going to look so much better on the one we're doing today. Okay. Now then, we've got his crazy, like, we've got like the crazy screaming neck muscles here, so we're going to highlight these up. As well as the very top. Now I'm going to section the shoulder off into 3 different muscles. So this is the first muscle I'm paying attention to. So I push the highlight directly to the top. And then down the edge here, I'm going to highlight it just so that it accentuates the actual structure of that muscle. So you can see that looks really, really nice. Now remember, every time somebody subscribes to the Reaper Twitch today, I will go ahead and vortex my finger on camera so you guys can get all the action out of that. Remember, you can do that for free with your Amazon Prime account by clicking the subscribe button in the top right-hand portion of your screen if you're on desktop. And you can link it to your Amazon account and just use free money. By doing that, it supports everything that Reaper's doing with all of their streams. And then, of course, that also helps keep Miniature Monday going. That, or you can just buy the kits. Either way. Buying the kits is probably the best way to specifically keep Miniature Monday going. But any bit helps. Remember, you can help me out as well with free money by going on Amazon, following my Amazon shop link. You can do your shopping as you normally would, and they'll give me some referral pennies for your purchases. Oh, look at that. We got a sub. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Tiamat. But you can check my store on Amazon as well, where I've got everything sorted and linked for you that I use here in the studio. It pretty much has everything that I use nowadays. And I get a kickback of all of those sales. Or like I said, you can just do your shopping like you normally would, and I'll still get credit for your purchases. And that helps me out a lot. Every single month, typically, I get about anywhere from like 30 to 80 bucks worth of credit. So that's really awesome for me. I can buy kitty litter. I can do all the stuff that I just need around the house. Very, very helpful. You can also help me out by signing up on Patreon. You can check out all that good info at patreon.com/minipaintingstudio. I don't lock any content that I've done in the past. So when you sign up, you've got pretty much, you have more classes than you can finish. I mean, that's kind of what everyone realizes when they join. They're like, oh, there's way too much stuff here. So most people join, they'll look at previous classes, they'll pick a couple that they want to do, and then pretty much everybody else just hangs on for the ride for all the new stuff. But that being said, this weekend we've got one of our hobby videos. So this one's for the people at the $5 tier. We've got 2 paint-along streams happening for the commercial box art quality paint-along we're doing for the $20 people. Got some private lessons going this week as well for people that are signed up for the private lesson tier. So there's stuff for every budget and every painter. And that is the best way to support me individually as a human being. You don't have to, but that's the best way. Oh, you better say thank you, Saragnon. Looks like Planer is mad at you for not saying thanks. I don't care if you say thanks. But so we've got our arm finished here, you can see. Looking really nice. Now we'll move on to the back. The back, actually, I think is probably the best part about this sculpt, to be honest. So I want to make sure to highlight up the portion closest on the left-hand side to the shoulder. And I'm leaving room here. Nomad, yeah, I am a lizard person. How did you know? Yeah, I did finally make the decision to pull generic commissions off of my website. So that's a big move for me, so I can finally get out of that nightmare. I still, of course, take commissions, but I no longer just advertise myself as a service, so that helps a lot. But Patreon definitely now is the full focus of everything that I do. So people that are on the Patreon can tell you, the more people that keep signing up, I'm just like adding an insane amount of stuff for the value. Like every month it seems like I'm figuring out something new to do for everybody. So using this color to highlight up this shoulder even further. There we are. I feel like Peter has been on my Patreon for, I know, over 2 years, and he has seen it literally from its infancy. I still have my first patron, which is really cool. She took one break, but I still have my very first person that's ever signed up, which I think is really, really cool. So I know they definitely have the first-hand knowledge of like all the different things that I've tried, all the things that we tried and stopped, all the things that we tried that we've stuck with now. Alright, so I've got more of that amber gold out here because I need to mix up some more. There we go. Alright, so top of this bicep. And that's pretty much it for the back here. I'll go ahead and do a little bit of the back of the heel. A little bit of this back calf muscle. A little bit of the top of this calf muscle here. And then I'll do the knuckles on the hand. I don't really want to highlight much else on the hand, just the knuckles. I feel like I'm happy with the amount of that lighting. There we go. A little bit of this bicep as well, right up at the top underneath where it meets the shoulder. So that works pretty well. Cheese. That's funny. That's really good. I'm glad. I think I know who you are because I let you into both groups. I'm pretty sure. Because, yeah, at this point, there's so much stuff on there that it's like... It's going to be really... Unless you are just an amazing painter already and you're joining to, like, look at what to do on your own Patreon, which I've had happen twice in the past. There's something on there for everybody. Alright, so now... Oh, nope. We need to do the top of the knee. Top of the knee to you. You know what, let's do our little knuckles on the toes here. There's nothing worse than a sunburnt foot. Am I right? Do the top of this knee. Bottom half of the thigh here. I like that react, Andre. Alright, I want to taper that a little bit further. There we go. Alright, now then on to the face. Gonna do the nose. Pretty much everywhere we highlighted before. Just leaving a little bit more of that shadow visible. Nothing revolutionary. Yeah, one summer I got such a bad sunburn at Padre Island, and like my family growing up, we couldn't afford like anything vacation wise, so it was a big deal anytime we got to do anything fun like that. So we went to South Padre, and I got so sunburned that I had to spend the rest of the vacation laying underneath the fan in the hotel room covered in aloe, and I had a fever. It was just painful.
Sounds like it sucks.
Yeah. The only time we ever went to like a theme park, we went to SeaWorld, and I stubbed my toe on like the weird rough walking surface that they had, and it ripped off the entirety of like the bottom of my big toe, so I couldn't actually swim the entire vacation. You remember when you made that comment to me about a dark cloud, Justin?
Yeah.
Alright, then we'll do the top of the head. Make sure to leave a little bit of shadow right on the edge where the eyebrows are, so that way there's a little bit of separation between them. Look at this guy. He's looking nice. Yeah, Padre Island's sweet, man. I really love Padre Island. The best seafood place I've ever eaten at was literally a plywood shack, and it was called Oceans of Seafood. It was phenomenal. The best place I've ever eaten. It was like everything was under like $5, $5, $10, super cheap. Okay, so now we're almost ready for our freehand. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more of the, what is this, chestnut gold? Sorry, amber gold to the color we were doing. And this will be our final highlight color. And this will be the same color that we use to edit and clean up our freehand work on that paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay attention to the top of the nose here, and the nostrils on the left and right. Let's get a little bit closer as friends. There we go. Man, this skin is looking so good, man. Very pleased with this paint job today. Now, if only I could be pleased with every paint job that I do. I know you guys are already mad when I disclosed I throw away so many painted miniatures. This guy won't get tossed though. We'll save him. So we're gonna highlight up the cheek here, right on the side of the eye, and then we'll do the tear duct, just like that. And then we'll do our eyebrows and the top of the head. I want the head to be a little bit brighter, just because that's the focal area everyone's going to be paying attention to. Alright, and then we'll do some more highlighting here on the neck. And this will, being up close like this will help you understand where I'm placing these highlights as well. Oop, if I actually change the focal point. There you go, now you can see. We're just doing the very top of these objects here. I like how I called muscles objects, but you get the idea. Just going back in with some water and feathering our taper. Why not use your painted minis as giveaways? I'm a very firm believer in never doing giveaways unless it's for a good reason. But I keep, like the Miniature Monday ones that I keep, but a lot of the Patreon stuff when I moved, I just tossed because I just don't have storage. And I'll never use them. I typically will only keep stuff that, is a really good example that I can end up using later on, like in another lesson. If I have somebody that I'm teaching a technique or something like that, I can pull it out, use it as a reference. But otherwise, if it's just like basic tabletop level stuff, I have no reason to do it. And I've tried selling them before, but it's very hard to sell painted miniatures, even at like a reasonable price. I mean, you can sell painted stuff for like $10, but at that point, that's not worth it. Alright, so we're good with this. Well, Chewy, we don't, it's kind of a policy for this show to not do giveaways. Let me see, let me back this out so I have more room. Oh, I mean, yeah, that does make sense to give them to a local game store, actually. Because in Texas, my local game store was Texas Toy Soldier, and they don't do, like, role-playing events at all, so that didn't really make sense. They do war games and stuff like that. Around here, though, now that I've moved, there are a couple game stores, but none of them are doing in-person events, so I'll just kind of think about that in the future.
Actually, yeah, I think that's actually a fantastic idea. You could probably even organize something with the game store owner to sell it to them really cheap. Like
that's a
like $5 a minute.
That is hilarious, Justin.
Oh, okay.
No, it's hilarious to think a game store owner would ever pay a painter for anything. I've learned that the hard way. Actually, you know of a person that hates my guts in this very town that's a game store owner because I wanted to be paid. So
Oh.
yeah. So there was a game store owner, remember, that wrote a letter saying that he would never buy another no, he would never stock another Reaper product because I have this show. I can't wait for him to go out of business. But yeah, Game HQ though is great. Game HQ down in Moore is like an amazing game store. They're just, 40-minute drive from where I am now, so it's kind of a trek.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
I'm sure that hurts his feelings hearing that.
Yeah, he probably doesn't watch the show, to be honest.
No, not at all. But if he did, I hope you're having a great day. Alright, so we're going to do a fun... What'd you say?
That's the perfect attitude to have. Kudos.
Yeah. But, so I'm going to do a final highlight here on his hand. And I think we're ready. Let's do... I'm going to add a little bit to the top of the knee. Top of this hand right here. There you go. So that'll be it. So now we're going to do our free hand. So go ahead and get your blue. So this is cyan blue here. From what I understand, Tiamat, when they got that email, they looked up how much he was ordering, and no one cared. I think that was the deciding factors. They were like, okay, bye. Alright, so we're going to get this color out, and then I think I need a little bit... So I need white. So I'm going to get out our linen white here. And then I also need to get some noir black, because I need the blue to be a touch darker. See, as I create my little palette area. You know what? I'm actually just going to use violet shadow. We don't need noir black for this. Alright. So, I'm going to take some of the blue on over here. Let me reposition. There we go. Shadow. I mean, I might. I just haven't updated anything. Like, I got this last week, so I just haven't thought to add it or anything like that. But, I mean, I can. Surely. I don't know how much they cost either. If I had to guess, they're like, what, 30 to 40? Maybe more? I don't know. I mean, it's pretty sturdy. It's, like, very, very intense when it goes off. Alright, so what I did here for the free hand... Wait, this is 8? This thing? The Lab Genius? Wow, okay. Then I definitely should add that to the store, because I would get maybe $3 if somebody bought it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do a straight line. Now, I actually need to look and see... Okay, yeah. So you're essentially going to fill in the cavity where the eye is. And we're going to leave... and wait, how far did I take it? All the way down the cheek? Yeah, so we're going to do the whole cheek here. The entire top half of the nose. Like that. Oh, he just came out of the base holder. Hold on. Only a slight emergency there. Alright. So now, I'm going to make sure that my brush is wet, so that way I can use it more like a pencil. I'm going to very carefully do a nice little curly Q pattern that's going to go up, across, over the ear, and it's going to end in the center of the head. So, wish me luck as we ruin the miniature. Alright, we did it. We ruined the miniature. There it is. So, that is going to be our base freehand to work with. I think it looks pretty good. Go over here. Alright. Now, I scooped it a little bit too far to the right, but it doesn't look bad. I mean, it looks like paint. Looks like we're doing okay. Then, very easily, I've just got a band on his arm. So we're just going to go across the arm like this. Now remember, if you goofed on your freehand a little bit, don't worry about it, because you can go back and clean it up with that last color that we applied. But yeah, you can just clean up your edges and everything by doing that. Super simple. Then, we also had the other spirals on the left and right, but I don't know if that... I mean, I don't know if I really like it. I don't know. Should we do the double spiral on the stomach, or should we do something else? I do like the skin way better on the one we painted today. I mean, we really knocked it out of the park, for sure. But, I don't know. Should we do the double swirls? Should we do like one big swirl? Should we do a For Loco logo? Like, what are you guys thinking? Let me know in the chat if we should we leave it bare? Like, what are you thinking? Just let me know. Double rainbow? That, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Double rainbow. Funny, funny, funny. Alright. What about in like, what if we do like Gothic script and it says crybaby? Like really big across the stomach. Crybaby. That'd be kind of funny, right? Alright, well we'll just ignore it for now. We're gonna leave it blank. Heart with a mom. An arrow pointing down. You know, you guys have intriguing ideas. We could do a happy trail. We could freehand some man fuzz, some ogre hair. But for now, let's just highlight everything up. So I'm going to take that blue color directly. Now, the real trick to this is actually highlighting it to where you have some of the darkness still showing. So I'll start off by illustrating what I'm talking about here on this arm. Now, it's not going to be super obvious with this first application, but what I'm doing is I'm trying to color within the lines, so to speak, of the last application of the war paint color, and I'm also widening some of the parts in the creases. And then I'll go ahead and do the backside here. Cool. And on top. So what we're going to do is we're going to pay attention to the top of the nose as a separate point. Highlight the cheek as a separate point. Really, I'm just putting this color in as the base for the actual highlight. And then on this nice curve, I'm going to go ahead and recode it like this. I'm going to widen it a little bit. Make it thicker than a Snicker here as we move down the side of the head. There we go. Now this makes a lot more sense. That's a nice looking spiral. Okay. Now I'm going to add some of that white. So we create a nice highlight color. The one nice thing about the blue that we're using, which again is just cyan, it doesn't necessarily go sky blue whenever you highlight it. I mean, it just turns into a really, really rich light blue color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay attention to all of our details. I'm going to get a little bit closer so you guys can get personal with our Mr. Uger. Do the top eyelid. This side of the eye and the tear duct area as we start to highlight it up. Top of the nose, and then a little bit there in the top of where we have the nostril. And then I'll do another little swath here right on the inside underneath the eyelid.
That swirl is freehand, right?
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love it.
Thank you. And I'm going to highlight this up even further to help bring out those details. We're going to go ahead and do the bottom eyelid on this side. My brush is not wet enough, so I'm actually kind of risking it. Here, I'm going to fix this problem. I'd rather not just ruin it. Alright. Do that tear duct up underneath. Like so. Now then, we need to highlight up the rest of the swirl. So this is where I was saying you need to try and color within the lines and be careful. I want to leave the darker blue as a border. And you can see I fade it down into the darker blue as a color transition, like so. And then I'm going to gently work it in on the rest of the spiral. Nice and easy. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to back this out a little bit. We'll go ahead and take care of the one on the arm. There we go, and then now we'll do our final highlight with it. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the white. And this is where we'll do the final details on the face. So I'm going to do the right-hand side, like so, right in the tear duct, the bottom eyelid, top eyelid, taper it out a little bit onto the cheek like that. Top of the nose. Like so. It's looking real nice. This side of his face, we'll do the tear duct. And that side. And then I want to do this bottom part of the swirl. Excuse me. And then this top part. And there you go. So now it has a little bit more dimension to it. And that is it for that. So now we are just on a mission to finish all the other details, which won't take long at all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that nice, which color was it? It was the amber gold. And we're going to highlight up all the straps and everything directly with that color on its own. Oop, it's coming off my holder. There we go. So just tapering it in, working in some texture. There we are. Easy peasy. So now we're also going to highlight up the skulls using the same color. Now then, these skulls are pretty optional in terms of detailing because of the sculpt. So I may highlight this up further, or we'll just kind of phone it where it's at. If you have the sculpt in front of you, you know what I'm talking about. This skull right here, though, has a little bit better detail, so we'll give it a little bit more attention. And I'm just kind of leaving some of that defining detail around the eyes, everything like that. And then there's one more skull right here. Go ahead and just paint the top of its head. A little something like that. Now then, using this color, I'm going to go ahead and just overbrush the cloth on his feet, ankles, whatever. Same idea here on the cloth on his wrist. And then I'll go back in and we'll redefine some edges physically and do some implied texture. That'll be the easiest way to fill in that detail. Do the same thing on the back. Like so. Now then, what I want to do is I want to take olive skin, which I think I still have out right here. And this will be the color that we do for our fur. So overbrushing the fur with a wet brush. Just focusing on the brighter portions. Now the neat trick here, right, is because we use that green color on the fur, applying the olive skin, which we've used on the skin of the ogre, it looks like a totally different color because we're applying it on a totally different hue. If we were applying this color on top of a reddish hue, it would look just like the skin. But since we're not doing that, it's just a neat little trick. Two birds, one stone. And then I'll do the same thing here on the fur lining. And I'm just overbrushing. So it's the same idea as dry brushing. It's just wet paint, and I'm using my brush at like a 30-degree angle, 45-degree angle, just trying to catch all the details. Overbrushing is less damaging than dry brushing on a brush. That's why I prefer it as a technique whenever I am doing it. There we are. So now we're going to get our... Actually, I say that. I'm going to use this color plus a little bit of white to do his tusks. Tusks. There we go. So now then, we'll go ahead and bring up our metallics. So I've got the gold right here. Highlight up the belt. Like so. A little bit more right there. There we go. Now then, on the wristlet he has on, reapplying. And again, this was supposed to be like studded leather or whatever, but I just figured it was too boring to have that much brown. Just overbrushing it back on top, leaving the wash below. And then, of course, the buckler. We're going to do the top of the buckler only to retain the shadow that's built into it right there. And then I'm going to get the honed steel. As we highlight up some of the other stuff. Then we'll get our intense brown, and we'll be 99% complete. Alright, so taking whatever metallic color you used for your silver bits, we're going to go back. I'm going to highlight up this little stone doodad. Make sure to highlight up the edges and the points on the spikes on the club. Got that. Do the edge of the buckler. Well, I say it's a buckler. It's only big enough to be a buckler for him. It's probably a full-size shield for somebody else. He is, of course, a big ogre. And then I do the bottom rim as well, just to signify that reflection hitting. Relatively simple. And then we'll do the banding on the barrel. I want to leave the chainmail as dark as it is. I'm sure it's not clean at all. I would assume. Then we're going to get intense brown, or whatever brown you were using previously. Where are we at? Right here? Alright, so we're going to highlight up the top half here. And then I'm just going to do individual strands for the texture of the wood in the club. You can see that. Half the wood in the club getting highlights. That was a old school, I think his name was, oh my gosh, who did everybody in the club getting tipsy? I forget what his name was. No. I forget what his name was. But he only had Kia Shine. I think that's his name, Kia Shine. Am I don't remember.
That wasn't 50 Cent.
I didn't, no, you're confusing in the club with everybody in the club get tipsy. It's two very similar. Or am I thinking get tipsy? I'm trying to remember here. If I look up Kia Shine, hold on one second, because his story is actually crazy. Let's see. Is that the song he did? Oh no, he did Crispy. Jaquan. There you go, Jaquan. I was thinking it was either Jaquan or Kia Shine. Kia Shine was also a one-hit wonder. That's hilarious. But yeah, I know Jaquan, like, he made a bunch of money off that song, and then he bought himself out of the record deal, bought the master, and then never made another song, and just, like, collected all the cash, which is actually a pretty clever move if you aren't trying to make a career out of music. All right, so now we'll do his collar. Easy enough. We'll do the belt a little bit. I think this is actually redstone highlight I'm going to put on the edge of the belt, but it'll highlight it up nicely. Kia Shine Crispy. Oh my gosh, I haven't heard that song in so long. Hilarious. And then I'm just going to very lazily dry brush that edge right there. So everybody in the club getting crispy. There you go, Chewy. But that is pretty much it for this week. Oh, wait, I'm a big old liar. We didn't do his mutton chop highlight. I am so sorry, Mr. Ogre. Don't eat me up. We'll just do some individual strand highlights there. There we go. Now he's got his hair. What was that long Arthur hair on my hand? And there we go. So I hope you guys enjoyed it for the first guy for our desert kit. I like his skin tone a lot better on the one we did today. I think it's more deserty, less pale. I'm gonna go back here sneakily to do the wrap on the little tooth charm he's got hanging down his neck, and I'll just wash it down. But beyond that, anything else will just be painter's choice for how far you want to highlight it. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of these completed. I've been seeing some from the last kit. Actually, I've been seeing a lot. You can always post that in the Discord channel, or you can send it to me directly, or you can post it wherever. When are the kits going on sale? These have been on sale since last month, if I'm not mistaken. They've been on sale since the last week of June. Maybe they're sold out. I don't know. Let me see. I don't think they're sold out, though. Let's see. So if you go to new releases, yeah, they're for sale. They've got the May set and the June set for you already. And then Chewy, yeah. So I'm working, or will be working on, the next set for release. Like, it'll probably be available, or at least, you know, my graphic and all the stuff they need from me will be available by next week. And then yeah, we've already approved the entire next quarter, so you know, I'll just say it. I mean, I've said it before, but so we've got. I think we're gonna do the undead kit first. So we've got an undead kit coming for July. August is a ReaperCon themed kit, and then July, August, and then September is Mechanical Dungeon. Ooh, but the kits are pretty cool. I've already shown all the miniatures off to the people that were on Patreon last week, of course, when we were working on our object source lighting from below class. You can see that miniature here. But yeah, during the class, I went ahead and showed all the miniatures since they arrived in the mail. But so we were working on this guy last weekend. This weekend, we've got some other stuff going on. Next week, we're going to be working on our camel. So that will be exciting. We're going to brighten up some of the details on the camel, but this guy was a lot of fun and just odd, right? There's a lot more that actually went into painting the skin than I even imagined the first time around, so I'm excited for that. Then, of course, we've got our hero miniature, so you can see him here. I'm very excited to paint him up. This is just a great miniature, honestly. So if you didn't own it before and now you own it, now you've got to find a reason to use him. But really, really great sculpt. I love the attitude, the pose, everything. Really great to paint up. And then, of course, we have the big boss bad man as well to finish up this kit before moving on to the undead kit. When you guys see what's in the undead kit, too, you're going to absolutely love it. I already know. So, but that is pretty much it. Do you have anything for us, Justin, beyond the usual and show tomorrow morning, and then and then Clever Crow in the afternoon, and then we've got Wednesday's just Anne, and then Thursday is Painting Platinum, or is it on Wednesday?
Painting Platinum is Thursday.
Thursday, okay.
And then reaperlive.
There you go. So, thanks so much, everybody. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. And are we rating anybody today?
Yeah, we're gonna be rating Mocha.
So it's like our designated raid is always Mocha. Oh,
Yeah, it's the only time she's actually unlocked.
there you go. All right, well, make sure you guys give Mocha lots of love and tell her that well, she's going to know that you came from us. But either way, we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Yeah, keep being awesome, guys, and spread the Reaper love. Thanks, Ed. Wave, Josh. Wave.
Huh?
Just wave, Josh.
Did we do it? We did it.
Yeah, we did.